Oh boy. It's always a good time in studio. A special good morning to you. This is The Morning Brew, another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are live coming to you from the GIS studios. Today, Tuesday, the 25th of August 2020. We're winding down on this month and preparing for the new month, the new academic year. We have the details to a press conference that the Department of Education did hold yesterday from our studios, providing a comprehensive plan for the opening of the new academic year. That's coming up in just a moment. If you're watching online, if you're watching on air, our Facebook platform, YouTube, on our channel 122, a special good morning to you. Residents here in St. Lucia, as well as St. Lucians in the diaspora. Special good morning to you as well as well-wishers globally. We do have the latest stories. As I mentioned, yesterday's press conference with the Department of Education. A quarantined national who is COVID-19 negative was hospitalized on the weekend. COVID-19 continues to be a very stark reality in our neck of the woods. We just heard of retired sprinter from Jamaica, Usain Bolt, contracting COVID-19. We do wish him all the best, as well as all those in the world who are dealing and being confronted with this deadly virus and this pandemic on a whole. Also in our news this morning, modernizing the public procurement system. We know that efforts are underway at attaining that. We have the details coming up to that as well. Do stay with us. We have the details to those stories and more coming up after this break.
She's been watching, waiting, wondering when the sands of time will give way to a tide of change, and for yesterday and today to become a new tomorrow. For a time when her sun can kiss the cheeks of your loved one and her stars can twinkle in her honeymoon skies. When her earthly embrace will reassure and calm your soul. And her unique view can change your whole perspective. Proudly, she has risen to meet new challenges and to provide safe harbor to all who reach her shores. For her hopes and dreams still stand, shoulder to shoulder, a precious reminder of experiences yet to come. So, wherever your moments and memories take you, let her sense of adventure set you free. She is St. Lucia.
What does coronavirus have in common with love? Both are highly contagious. Spread love, not the virus. Like you, COVID-19 loves a lime. Beach, river, or fed. Coronavirus is like these people who track every lime just to invade. The best way to put off invaders? Cancel the lime. Spread love, not the virus. Keep you and your crew corona-free. Live to lime another day.
Together let us win this war. St. Lucia be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
Thank you so much for staying with us. This is The Morning Brew, live on NTN, and my name is Jessie Leonce, bringing you the latest stories coming out of the government of St. Lucia. We start with the Department of Education providing a comprehensive plan for the opening of the new academic year. And if you were watching our live yesterday midday, you would have seen a press conference taking place between Dr. Fiona Meyer, the Chief Education Officer, also the Permanent Secretary, Michelle Charles, and Dr. Sharon Belmar-George, the Chief Medical Officer, speaking on their plans for the new academic year. And just to read the lead, the Department of Education, Innovation and Gender Relations has finalized plans for the opening of the new academic year. The proposed date is September 7th, 2020, with teachers reporting to schools on August 31st, 2020. Officials say the dates are proposed given the fluid nature of the COVID-19 pandemic. The return of students to the classroom setting is being done under two formats. Option one is the whole school approach with the use of social distancing protocols. That's option one. And the students will attend school for 4 days in the week, Monday to Thursdays. Dr. Fiona Philip-Meyer is the Chief Education Officer.
The Friday will be used for planning as well as a general sanitization of the school plant. And note that all of the schools had to present their individual instructional plans. These were vetted. These were looked at by a range of individuals and agencies, including our environmental health, and approval was then given. So for parents with small school settings, where the numbers are low, we have schools with 50 students, schools with 100 students. That has been the consideration for the small schools, including both primary and secondary schools.
So Dr. Philip-Meyer just explained what option one will be. That will be the whole school approach with the use of social distancing protocols. Now, option two is alternate instructional days with an emphasis on assignments and student projects.
We note that we have some schools with as many as 1,000 children. We have primary schools with 500 children. Option one would not fit in that situation. Therefore, for those schools, we're looking at alternate instructional days. And that means that our children, your child, will be at school on alternate days. So, quick way of example, 1 day in, 1 day out. And this is meant to ensure that we constantly have contact with the children, that they're not gone for long periods of time. But it's important to note that when we have the alternate days, the days when the children are not at school, these are meant for distributed learning activities. That speaks to virtual, meaning online, various platforms that we've used to be able to provide work to the children, as well as activity sheets, project-based work.
And health protocols are entwined in every facet of our lives now that we're dealing with this pandemic. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George says the decision to reopen schools was evidence-based. And we did hear that from them once the Department of Education did get the all clear to resume and prepare for the new academic year, the resumption of the opening of school. Several factors, she explained, were considered, including the many cases of active COVID-19 on island, the lack of community spread, along with those who are of course, the infected individuals.
So all of this is just part of what we looked at, and also look at how does the disease manifest in our people of school age, in children. And for most of them, it's very mild disease or asymptomatic disease. We also looked at what structures that we have put in place, and I really have to commend the Ministry of Education in how they were able to do the grade 6 and the Form 5s. I think it was a good dry run, and the level of coordination and managing at that phase. We are going into a phase which is of higher risk, bringing all the children back, but all of those factors had to be put in place. Our reality is that for the next 2 years, we will be managing COVID. What are our options? We keep schools closed for that period of time. Looking at where we are in relation to the disease, looking at what we've put in place to be able to manage, we are at a point where we can safely ask children to come in. And we need to look at our national situation, look at the facts and not be led by anxieties and misinformation.
Thank you, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George, for that. update. Of course, all that was part of a press conference that was held yesterday on how the Department of Education, tying in with the Department of Health, will be rolling out the new academic year. We are due for a break. No, we have one more story before we go to break. In more educated-related developments, continued efforts to improve the performance of secondary school students in mathematics will take the form of increased resources for the Department of Education's Numeracy Hours initiative. And this is coming off of a midday on Friday. We did have an information session on this initiative from the Department of Education to improve the grades of secondary school students in mathematics. We know that students in the last few years, the statistics have not looked good in terms of their results from CSEC, and so the Department of Education is working very feverishly through the Numeracy Hours initiative to improve on the understanding of mathematics in the classroom. Take a listen.
Many secondary school students who struggle with formulas, shapes, and number-related concepts will soon be aided with mathematical tools in the classroom. The Department of Education is laser-focused on improving the national performance in mathematics at the Caribbean Secondary Examination Certificate CSEC level. In 2018, 43% of candidates who wrote CSEC in St. Lucia did not attain a passing grade in the subject. The Numeracy Hours initiative, launched in August 2019 and piloted at the Form 4 and 5 level in 4 secondary schools, will continue in this upcoming academic year. Upon review of the pilot phase, more resources for the program were approved to enhance teaching methods.
With the concept of algebra, let's say, it's rather abstract. But there are certain ways where, for example, certain topics in algebra, completing the square. So what we have done is that we've gotten the algebra tiles to assist those teachers and students to actually manipulate and complete the square and see how algebra and using the algebra tiles can relate to completing the square, the whole abstract concept of completing the square.
That was the program's numeracy coach, Ian Hippolyte. In addition to algebra tiles, the Department of Education has also procured other materials, including graph boards, projectors, calculators, and geometry sets. The introduction of such apparatus follows extensive work of the intervention program at the 4 pilot schools. Teachers were first engaged in training, and then through the assistance of mathematics specialists, the mathematics curriculum was reviewed and a bank of lesson plans was developed to assist teachers in executing more effective classes.
The teacher now takes the lesson plan and tweaks it, develop it as to how he or she would like it for his or her particular set of students. And then I'm in the classroom observing and offering assistance when needed and necessary. Okay. And at the end of the lesson, I sit with each teacher, and then we look to see how best we can make the next class more interesting and more fun and more interactive and to better achieve our goals.
Hippolyte is pleased to report that after the pilot phase, all teachers involved are looking forward to the resumption of the program.
All the teachers are on board. All the teachers are looking forward, I can say, to the assistance. This coming academic year. We're just in a bit of a limbo with this whole COVID issue, and we're not sure how the procedures of school, because some schools have not decided yet as to how they're going to organize their classes. So once we have that settled, then we would know for sure how we're moving forward with our Numeracy Hours program.
The Numeracy Hours program is funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, funded Education Quality Improvement Project, EQUIP. The Department of Education hopes to expand this program to more schools island-wide. For the Government Information Service, I am Jessie Leonce reporting.
And again, that report coming off of an information session that was held at midday on Friday, last Friday, on the Numeracy Hours initiative of the Department of Education. We did also hear from Ms. Vanjie Charles from the Patricia D. Charles Secondary School, as well as a teacher from the Miku Secondary School, I believe Mr. DeRose, and they did speak on they did give some feedback on the program which was piloted in the last academic year, hoping that the program program can be extended beyond the Form 4s and Form 5s, emphasizing the importance of a good foundation at the Form 1, 2, and 3 level in mathematics before getting to Form 4s and 5. We are due for a break this morning. Thank you so much for making us part of your early start to the day. The CDC dropped St. Lucia's COVID-19 rating to level 1 as one of only 8 countries in the world. The details to that story, as well as some other pandemic news, coming up on the other end of this break. Stay with us.
Better yet, use soap and water.
We must protect each other if we are to beat this corona. Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. Be a soldier, together we can beat this corona.
So you don't become the next case. Avoid touching your face. I'm sure you've been told so. Handshakes and hugging are a no.
Advice give you the please. Cover your mouth and your nose if you cough or sneeze.
Practice social distancing and avoid large social gatherings.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. St. Lucia, be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
For further information, please contact the hotline at 311 or the Bureau of Health Education at 468-5349.
Cette lisi ka registre vermin corona ek I ka fait mouvement ek an chay vitesse tan chaque canef ka kouye pour vigilance publique la fait wolo parler en place publique qu'on bolame base ti boutique changer distance sociale 6 pieds Rodion à l'autre. I ka travail tan, si ou senti ko pa cordial, quarantine ko, pas en contact et puis l'autre, en cas où te toi pe exposé. C'est un écouye, free one ou ben n'importe clinique yo pou. Les pays a dimi à clé, ça veut dire les supermarkets, pharmacies et puis ATM, yo accessible avant c'était souhait. Pays à clé en plein, ça veut dire tout bagay fermé à 24 heures. Servi protocole comme sorti par bureau indication santé. Nous tout ensemble, ça sauve vermine corona. Si nous tous servi jidla à toutes les.
Together let us win this war. St. Lucia, be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
Thank you for staying tuned. This is the Morning Brew live on NTN. Thanks for making us part of your morning. The CDC has dropped St. Lucia's COVID-19 rating to level 1 as one of only 8 countries in the world. That is the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And just to give you some back information, we have the levels of the CDC's warning in terms of COVID-19, and level 3 is avoiding non-essential travel to that country. Alert, level 2, is practice enhanced precautions when you're in that country, and watch, level 1, is practice usual precautions. Now, St. Lucia is at level 1. It's the best level to be at. The level 1 COVID-19 risk in St. Lucia is low. New cases are decreasing or are stable. And so that is wonderful news, especially as we've resumed and we've reopened our borders, we've resumed tourism activity. We've essentially gotten a green light of sorts from the U.S. in terms of us practicing usual precautions. There is no alert and there is no warning being issued to the citizens of the United States of America. And so augurs well for the tourism sector. We continue with the COVID-19 news. There was some heightened activity at one of the government quarantine facilities over the weekend after a returning national encountered medical difficulty. Dr. Sharon Belmar George, Chief Medical Officer, did address this matter during the press conference yesterday afternoon.
On Sunday, August 23rd, 2020, a 48-year-old national who returned to St. Lucia on Friday, August 21st, 2020, was found unresponsive in her room at one of the national quarantine sites by the nurses during a routine review. She was rushed to the respiratory hospital via ambulance and is presently at the intensive care unit at the OKEU hospital receiving care. The COVID-19 test conducted on this patient was negative. The medical team is presently conducting the necessary investigations to determine the cause of her condition and to clinically manage her. Further updates on this patient and the national COVID-19 response will be provided.
That was a clip from Dr. Sharon Belmar George, Chief Medical Officer, giving a statement on this recent case of some heightened activity at one of the government quarantine facilities after a returning national encountered medical difficulty. In St. Lucia to date, a total of 5,138 COVID-19 tests have been conducted, out of which 26 confirmed cases of COVID-19 have been recorded. Of these 26 cases, 25 have fully recovered. The last case, which is the 26th case, which was recorded on Tuesday, August 18th, 2020, is a repatriated national who is presently in care and stable at the respiratory hospital. So as we go about our merry way, we need to be cognizant that the pandemic is still a very real thing in the world. We did just recently hear that a retired sprinter from Jamaica, Usain Bolt, did contract COVID-19, and that was confirmed by the state. And it just goes to show that COVID-19 continues to be an ever-present threat, and we should be vigilant, we should be alert, we should observe the protocols. We shouldn't get lost and become complacent. Yes, time has passed. We're not in a feverish pitch of COVID from March, April, when there was the lockdown in St. Lucia. Don't let the reality of things get lost on you. The state of emergency continues. We're still in a state of emergency until the 30th of September. The emergency orders remain. You are required to wear a mask when you're going into establishments, when you're going to your corner shop, when you're going to school, you're going to work, when you're going on a bus. You are required to wear a mask. It is hoped, we hope that you are washing your hands frequently, that you're using hand sanitizer when you're not near a sink and when you don't have a soap at hand, that you observe the 6-foot distance. If you're on the line to go into the supermarket, observe the 6-foot distance. If you are going to buy school books for your child, observe the 6-foot distance outside of the store. You know, these are all little things that help us abide by the protocols. If we just do these little things, then we significantly reduce the risk of this COVID-19 situation. At the state level, efforts at managing, we've so far seen COVID-19 have been very stringent. Everybody who's coming in from abroad, there are very stringent measures being put in place to ensure that they go through the quarantine process for the fortnight and so on. And we do hope that you on the ground, in the mix of things with the population, you're doing your part to ensure that we stay protected from COVID-19, right? Just continuing with the news this morning, the World Bank Group has received funding under the Canada Caribbean Resilience Facility. The facility was established to achieve more effective and coordinated gender-informed climate resilience, preparedness, recovery, and public financial management practices in 9 Caribbean countries. CRF also supports countries by deploying technical experts in the region for close partnership, collaboration, and just-in-time support to accelerate the implementation of recovery projects and overall resilience building across the Caribbean. St. Lucia received technical assistance to undertake some of the reform activities to its public procurement system. We do have Glenn Simon with a report.
Public procurement refers to the purchase of goods, services, and works by governments and state-owned enterprises. It accounts for a significant portion of taxpayer revenue. Governments are expected to conduct public procurement efficiently and with very high standards to ensure quality of service delivery while safeguarding the public interest. Senior Procurement Officer in the Department of Finance, Trevor Cyril, acknowledged that in the past, procurement has not been accorded the level of seriousness that it truly deserves. He was pleased, however, to see that St. Lucia has now followed the path of the international community by recognizing the importance of the procurement function.
When you look at the value of procurement on an international level, it is accounting for 12% of government expenditure. In 2018 dollars in St. Lucia, our GDP was $1.922 billion. Procurement, as 12% of that would work out to about $230.6 million, and that's conservative. That is a significant amount of money. And so we need to put administrative procedures and a framework in place to ensure that government taxpayer dollars are best utilized and we end up with the best outcome.
With funding under the Canada Caribbean Resilience Facility, CRF, the World Bank team undertook a review of the post-disaster public financial management in St. Lucia, of which public procurement is a key component, particularly in response to a disaster or emergency. A stock-taking exercise on public procurement was conducted with relevant stakeholders during the month of August to discuss the new systems and modalities in public procurement, such as e-procurement and legislative reform governing public procurement. Anthony Jean is the Assistant Director for Public Procurement in the Department of Finance.
So it's not just only to introduce flashy systems of e-procurement and new legislation, but you want the persons really impacted to feel like some sense of ownership in this, because it's not being done primarily for us, it's being done for everybody. So our stakeholders, it's important that they're on board, they understand the history, they understand what it is we're doing, and importantly again, the next steps, how it impacts on them, how it requires them to respond, and we factor that into our action plans.
Deputy Economist in the Department of Economic Planning, Pearl Alcindor, agrees that public procurement must be given greater attention as it represents government expenditure into the local economy, which serves to stimulate economic activity.
Stock taking is very important in terms of looking at the efficiency of your project, looking at what are the gaps in your project activities, what are the troublesome areas that needs to be addressed so you can course correct and become more efficient to ensure that you deliver the outcome that you contemplated in the definition of your project.
One of the key stakeholders in the stocktake exercise was Calvin Lee, the Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Department of Infrastructure, Ports, Energy and Labor. He noted that procurement is a critical aspect of the ministry's functions, which directly impacts the public works program.
Because a lot of what we do impacts the general public from the point of view that, apart from the benefit of having a good road, but the construction works, the repair works are normally done by locals. So whether they work for a large company or medium-sized one or individual small contractors would build drainage and small walls and that kind, all benefit from that. So procurement for us is critical in that the transparency of it, the accountability of it, it accounts for a significant portion of our annual budget.
One of the recommendations emanating from the stocktake exercise is increased capacity building for all stakeholders in the procurement process, in reference to the new tools, procedures, and legislation necessary to modernize the procurement system. For the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, Glenn Simon reporting.
Thank you for that report, Glenn Simon. What we're going to do is just take a quick break. When we come back, we round off our morning brew. Stay with us.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. Think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Overnight, growing national unrest.
Society, a digital cashless society, one world currency.
A vaccine for COVID-19.
Droplets of the virus. Macy's iconic flagship.
The coronavirus.
Everybody vaccinated on the corona pandemic.
Our opposition to the lockdown.
An infected conspiracy theories
about the coronavirus.
bizarre claims.
The truth about the origin of COVID-19 hidden from the rest of the world. And the Chinese.
In this constantly changing environment, resulting in sensory overload, cut through the noise and tune in to the National Television Network, the official source of information, all facts.
We got this. Yeah. I can make it. You don't have no other choice but to be strong.
We're gonna make it.
I am a voice of hope, and I just wanna let you know that I believe in our strength as a people and the promise of a bright tomorrow.
And I want you to believe and trust.
I know God is watching over us, and I believe if we all come together now, everything will be alright. If we only press on.
Strengthen the bond and the ties among this generation.
Unite and be one, the fight will be won.
Come on, Caribbean.
Don't worry about the circumstances. Don't stress about the fears and the madness. Together we will take our chance at life and conquer it. Don't worry about the circumstances. Don't stress about the fears and the madness. Together we will take our chance at life. 'Cause we got this. We got this. We got this. We got this. Caribbean people, we got
We got this. 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 I am the strength within, yeah.
I know that we will rise again, and I'm sure we can lift on people.
It's a fight and we must all be shared. I can't believe this day has come.
For our sake, we must keep distance. Everyone looking out for their neighbor. Islands in the Caribbean sun.
It's time to be strong, the battle is on.
For the future of each generation. Every daughter and son united as one.
Sing on, Caribbean.
Don't worry about the circumstances. Don't stress about the fears and the madness. Together we will take our chance at life and conquer it. Don't worry about the circumstances. Must come. Don't stress about the fears and the madness. Together we will take our chance. No stress. We
If you just watched our music video there towards the end of the break, we got this. We've got this. We've got this. So despite the pandemic, St. Lucia is moving forward. We're moving forward with the reopening of school come the 7th of September. Just to also let you know, the reopening of preschools, early childhood development centers will be happening from September as well. So please take note of that. Our borders are open. Tourism has resumed, albeit phased, very cautious approach at doing it, but it has happened. Being faithful in the small things, and hopefully we can get back to a place within the sphere of a new normal where we can begin to thrive again. Again, I just hope that you are all adhering to the protocols. You are ensuring that you wash your hands, use of hand sanitizer, wearing the mask, observing the 6-foot distance. Please do it. Give the authorities, a good time. Give them a break when it comes to these protocols. If they're coming to your business place to do inspection, ensure that you have everything in place. If they're coming to the schools, teachers, I know that you are working right now, the administrators, to make everything right for the kids. We do hope that everything come this September, as we're coming into another month of the state of emergency, that we're on our P's and Q's where this pandemic is concerned. And our place in the world, again, we've received the reduced level 1 by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, where the government of the United States of America has put us at a place where it's okay for us, for St. Lucia, for United States citizens to travel to St. Lucia, and so another break for St. Lucia as well. In our neck of the woods, we have some islands that aren't faring well with the pandemic right now. Our prayers go out to them. You would have heard in the update to the nation earlier this week, the chief medical officer announcing that there were 2 countries struck off from the the list of bubble countries that can travel to St. Lucia and not have to go through quarantine, just come to our population one time, and that was Trinidad and Guyana. And that is due to the alarming rates of COVID-19 cases that are just sprouting up about the place in that country. We are loving you, Trinidad and Guyana, from a distance, and we do wish you all the best. We're also hearing that, I believe, St. Kitts and Nevis, they're preparing to reopen their borders. We do wish them all the best as well. They have been extra cautious as well, just like St. Lucia, in ensuring that they keep COVID-19 at bay. We do wish you all the best. Another morning down, another week. We're within another week. We hope it's going well so far. My name is Jessie Leon, signing off for now. I do hope you stay tuned to NTN. Continue watching NTN for all the updates coming from the government of St. Lucia. It is important, especially at this time where the fluid nature of COVID-19, one time things are up, one time things are down, and you need to know what is happening in St. Lucia, what protocols are being lessened on, what protocols are being maintained, what protocols are being made more stringent. Just keep your eyes and ears peeled, and your ears on the ground for NTN's updates. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye. Cheers.